Vietnam, a land of unparalleled beauty, with lush jungles, majestic mountains, and picturesque coastlines. A country whose natural wealth is as astonishing as it is intriguing. However, behind this wonder, a dark secret lurks: the illegal wildlife trade and its devastating impact on biodiversity. The Asian country, with its diverse geography and climates, is home to an incredible diversity of species. From the red-headed golden langur to the pangolin, Vietnam hosts a unique and fascinating wildlife. But did you know that many of these creatures are endangered due to illegal trafficking? Vietnam remains one of the largest hubs for the trade of species, both for consumption and sale to other countries. For this reason, today we invite you to a new extraordinary walk where you will learn about the illegal wildlife trade and its impact on biodiversity in Vietnam. Did you know that the trafficking of animal species is the third largest illegal business in the world? Indeed, this crime generates between 10,000 and 20,000 million euros each year, a figure comparable to the revenue from arms and drug trafficking, according to the World Wildlife Fund. Although it is sanctioned by international agreements such as CITES, every year, 1.5 million live birds are illegally traded, and up to 440,000 tons of medicinal plants are transported illegally. In the first 2.5 months of 2023, the nonprofit organization C4ADS, based in the United States and dedicated to dismantling networks of illicit trafficking, recorded up to 59 seizures. According to the weekly updated data publicly available on the C4ADS Wildlife Seizure Registry, the most frequently trafficked wildlife falls into 5 categories: elephants, leopards, pangolins, rhinoceroses, and tigers. Most illegal wildlife pieces seized by authorities worldwide were transported by sea. In fact, maritime seizures accounted for over 50% of the total weight of confiscated elephant ivory, rhinoceros horn, and pangolin scales in 2022. According to National Geographic Spain, approximately 100 tigers, 20,000 elephants, and over 1,000 rhinoceroses are killed each year for trafficking their bones, skin, tusks, and horns. Poachers and traffickers operate in the shadows, and their activity is fueled by insatiable demand. For example, rhinoceros horn is highly valued in traditional Vietnamese medicine, despite the lack of scientific evidence supporting its alleged benefits. This belief sustains a lucrative black market. On March 20, 2023, authorities in Vietnam seized nearly 7,000 kilograms of elephant tusks at the port of Haiphong. This confirms a gradual return to normalcy in the illegal wildlife trade industry, which had been slowed down due to the consequences of the COVID-19 pandemic on global trade.
It is a very alarming trend to see such a significant amount of ivory being trafficked in a single shipment,
said Ellen Tyra, an analyst with the Wildlife Crime Program at C4ADS. The resumption of trade after the pandemic shows a worrying pattern of massive shipments. Tyra expressed the following regarding this.
Over the past year, the world has gradually reopened, but things haven't fully returned to how they were. What the seizure data shows is that we are in this pandemic-adapted phase, and we are seeing some interesting trends.
Total seizures for the year decreased by 36% compared to the average recorded between 2017 and 2019. In 2022, a total of 487 seizures were documented, contrasting with the 1,143 known in 2019. This decline is not uniform across all countries, possibly because nations reopened at different times. For example, Malaysia, which reopened in early 2022, experienced an increase in wildlife seizures, while China, which maintained strict lockdown measures until January 2023, continued to report few cases. According to the latest World Wildlife Crime Report, elephant and rhinoceros poaching has steadily decreased since 2011, as have the prices paid for tusks and horns. However, the quantity of seized pangolin scales has multiplied by 10 in just 5 years, and new markets, such as the trafficking of European glass eels, have emerged. But how are trafficking levels measured? Steve Carmody, program director of the nonprofit organization Wildlife Justice Commission based in the Netherlands, pointed out to Mungabay in an email that relying solely on seizure data is not sufficient to understand the criminal dynamics of wildlife trafficking in a given year.
It is worth noting that seizure data only highlight cases where law enforcement managed to detect and seize wildlife products. These data do not reveal anything about undetected shipments that pass through the supply chain, nor about law enforcement successes in 2022, especially the arrests of significant facilitators and traffickers, which have caused significant disruptions in wildlife trafficking from Africa to Asia.
Ellen Tyra agrees that wildlife seizure data is not a perfect indicator of trafficking levels. However, due to the lack of transparency in the industry, she states,
There are numerous limitations to the conclusions that can be drawn from publicly recorded seizure datasets, but it is the best window we have.
Recognized with the Princess of Girona Foundation Award, writer, environmental activist, and founder of the NGO Wild Act Vietnam, Trang Nguyen, acknowledged to the Spanish newspaper El Mundo.
There is a part of the population that is in total denial. Even when activists or authorities talk about trafficking or criminal groups, they still don't accept it. They tell you it's a lie or that the problem is the Chinese. It's very Vietnamese to blame everything on China, like the English when they blame everything on the French. But there is another group of people, more open, younger, who have more information, understand the situation better, and recognize that Vietnam is, and has been, a country of origin for species trafficking. And that there are many Vietnamese poachers operating in Indonesia, Malaysia, or Africa. There is also a development issue. In the 80s and 90s, Vietnam exported a lot, enriched itself by supplying the Chinese market, and as it has progressed and opened up, we now also import resources from other countries, both neighboring and African and American countries. I am also concerned about the image of our country, especially when I travel to other places and see a certain prejudice and fear that trade with Vietnam could mean environmental destruction or resource extraction.
How does all this affect the global population? Illegal wildlife trafficking not only threatens individual species but also has an impact on the delicate balance of ecosystems, leading to the deaths of thousands of humans. Additionally, it's crucial to note that over 70% of current human diseases have an animal origin. In the last 10 years, almost 1,000 park rangers have been killed defending elephants, rhinoceroses, and other species against poachers, according to National Geographic. The disappearance of key predators can result in an increase in prey populations, leading to devastating effects on vegetation and other animals. But is there a risk in getting involved? Trang Nguyen states,
When you decide to get involved, you accept that there is a risk. At the same time, any cause has its risks. If you are an online activist, there's the possibility of being a victim of a hacker, or in many countries, you might encounter corrupt officials trying to go against you. But it's a decision you have to make on a personal level. In my case, I feel fortunate to have been able to work in the field. In my early years of activity, it was a privilege to travel to Africa and see animals in their natural habitat, especially elephants. Later, when I saw the tons of confiscated ivory, that became a motivation, indignation, the desire to remedy it. At the same time, I am aware that this kind of work cannot last forever because the longer you do it, the more at risk you are of being recognized.
And with these brave words from Trang Nguyen, we have reached the end of our extraordinary walk today. If you enjoyed it, give us a like and subscribe to the channel. Until the next extraordinary walk.